What's up everyone, it's KK and today we're going to talk about weapon smoothing, what it is, and how to get the most potential out of it, alright? So let's go ahead and lock in. One down. Dropped them. Where are you throwing nades at? Dropped them. Dropped them. Okay, there's another one. Dropped him. He's dead, 100%. So what weapon smoothing does in the Exfil zone, it's going to basically help out those players with shaky hands. It's going to allow you to get your shots off from long range a lot more accurate because it's going to stabilize your scope so it's not moving around too much. Obviously there's scope stabilization in the game, that is a different setting, but what I mean by stabilize is you're going to have a aim that's a lot more steady as you're trying to track your player. Now when it comes to using weapon smoothing in this game, there's different ways you can use it. I always recommend when you're using a gun stock, you don't use any weapon smoothing. I always say keep it on 0 because you want your gun to move with the same motion as your stock in real life. That's like the best way, to feel immersive while you're using your stock, and it just feels, more realistic. When I am freehanding in this game, I will always put my weapon smoothing on 3. Now, when it comes to freehanding, you kind of just want your weapon smoothing in a place where you feel like your weapon has some weight to it, right? When you're moving around, you don't want your weapon to be too light, too quick, because you're freehanding, you're using wireless controllers. You could whip your weapon anywhere when it's on 0 weapon smoothing. So you want it to have a little bit of weight to it, so it feels like it's comfortable in your hand. But other than that, that's basically what weapon smoothing does. Now, a lot of people don't really use it because of the slow animations and it's not really, optimal for close range combat, but there actually is a very good way to use it, and I use it a lot, especially on Suburb and Dam. Actually, I would say it's my main go-to playstyle when I'm using Suburb and Dam. I will always turn my weapon smoothing up, and I'll talk exactly about how I do that right now. Now, some of my best gameplay on Suburb has came from me using 9 weapon smoothing and just completely destroying players on the map. And yes, I said 9 weapon smoothing. Now, I use 9 because for some reason when it comes to weapon smoothing, it's completely usable from 1 through 9. But as soon as you go to 10, it's just completely unusable. Your weapon is just like a boat, it's rocking in water, it's too much going on, alright? But for some reason on 9, you actually have a perfect stabilization and it's controllable for your weapon while freehanding or not. Now, I use it while using a gun stock preferably because that's how you get the most stabilization, but using this in general is absolutely disgusting. It's almost a cheat code. Some people would probably clown you for using something so high on the weapon smoothing, but it's absolutely ridiculous, and it's a game changer for maps like Suburb and Dam. Now, coming down here, I believe it is Scav. Now, I'm just going to aim onto the Scav, and look how accurately I can get onto his head here. So here goes the Scav, and there's his head, and boom. I can take this shot at any moment here, and it just be over for him. Now, obviously this weapon is 5.56 and it's not going to do that, but when you're playing on big maps like this and you're fighting long range, a lot of players are really comfortable with peeking you. They'll peek way too much, it's far range, they're expecting you to miss your shots. But when you're running around with 9 weapon smoothing and a scope that allows you to zoom in this far, it changes the whole game. All right, now all those players that are always peeking you so actively, they're getting one tapped by you every time because you're just gonna line up that nice headshot on them and it's GG's for them because they think it's a safe peek, but it's not, because it's just one bullet and it's just game over. So let's talk about how to use 9 weapon smoothing. Now, it does take a little bit of getting used to it, but once you kind of get rid of that mental factor of the weapon moving around kind of slow, It's kind of simple. Now, the main way that I like to use it is always have my gun up and forward as I'm moving around. Now, normally when your weapon smoothing is lower, it's so much easier to pull your weapon up quick on players, right? Because, you know, it's low weapon smoothing. So when I'm using 9 to keep myself cautious and, you know, ready for players that are coming around, I always have my weapon up and in front of me at all times as I'm moving around. This is going to allow me to easily just shift my scope into my eye. It's going to be a shift motion, and that's all I'm going to be doing to target players. And trust me, this is not bad. Even close range, if it really comes down to it, you can get players very accurately and get some headshots. Now, honestly, when they get super close, it could be a problem. So if someone's like on the other end of this rock and they're pushing me crazy, then I might, you know, come here, go to my settings, drop my weapon smoothing really quick. Obviously, if you keep the settings menu popped up, it's always there. So if you keep it in the control menu on the weapon smoothing tab, you just open the menu back up, it's there. You can just swap it back, boom, oh, come back again and put it back on 9. So it's not that hard to swap back and forth, although you really don't want to be doing that, but it's necessary sometimes if you want to, you know, build your confidence up when a player is actually pushing you. But other than that, come into a raid on suburb or dam, bring a weapon that's going to shoot some 7.62, 5.1, M61, M993, and you're going to town with these weapons. I promise you, you're going to be destroying people, head taps, and, you know, I've already had so many videos on this, so go ahead and check those out and you'll see the proof is there. But that's pretty much it for this video. I'm basically just kind of explaining to you that the option is there. You know, if you want to be that sniper, if you want to feel a lot more comfortable with your weapon in long range and taking out these players, go ahead and try out 9 weapon smoothing, all right? It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but you can definitely do it. And for my gun stock players, it is elite, okay? I promise you, you will not be missing shots. I don't care how far these players are across the map, you can keep your crosshair completely steady and you're gonna hit those headshots, okay? I promise you. Even if you're freehanding, it's the exact same way. There really isn't much difference. You can still get a nice lined up shot. So that's gonna be it. This is your sign. Go ahead and mess around with the weapon smoothing. You may actually end up finding something that you like in the settings, because trust me, 9 weapon smoothing might literally be my main go-to for big maps like Suburb and Dam. But that's going to be it for today. If you like this video anyway, hit that like button, hit the comment section. If you have any questions, hit the subscribe button for more content, and I'll catch you guys later.